Okay, I think we are live. Welcome, YouTube, to the Ranting Hour, where we rant, hopefully for just an hour today, because I want to play some more Metroid Dread. But we sometimes go
Thought
about
you
go
beat it.
what?
Thought you beat it.
Yeah, but I didn't 100% it. Plus, there's a hard mode. Anyways, 10 out of 10 game of the year. Play Metroid Dread, you losers. Anyways, the Ranting Hour tonight. I am welcomed by Ink and Mino. Before we get started, be sure to like the video. It helps out a ton. And if you're watching the VOD, be sure to leave a comment on the video. And if you are here live, please chat and keep the engagement up. Go ahead and like the video. Don't make me pull a Kevin Samuels. I do keep an eye on chat, but that's not. I don't even know why I say that anymore, because usually I am not looking at chat. But if you do want to give my attention, please feel free to send a super chat. And if you want more of these shenanigans, join the TCC Discord. Provided you aren't cringe, please don't bring cringe to the channel or the Discord. All of us usually hang out there. Shout out to Mark, TCC. The podcast is Thursday on Twitch, twitch.tv/The Crystal Chronicles. You can catch Mino being politer there than usual. And you can also become a member. If you see people using emotes in the chat, you can join along with them. $1 for emotes just to help support. Doesn't really do much, but well, it does. Whatever. God, why am I going off the rails? Just read the script, idiot. And last thing, every week I call for people to make more content. If you think you can do something better, you think you have a take that's not out there, think you can do something, go ahead and start your own channel. Do it yourself. Skin in the game. See what it's like. I'm sure. I'm glad seeing more people doing their thing. Multiracial Line live stream on Wednesdays. Historia Crux with Cross that I haven't caught the last 2 episodes of. If I didn't shout you out, it's because I'm rambling right now. But I watch a ton of people's stuff, and it's good stuff. Hello, Koji coming at me with the violence. Back to normal. Yeah, y'all, I was a minute late once, and it wasn't even my fault. And you guys are getting on me. Anomender, good players just get the weapon. Catchphrase of the day. So the funny thing about that is my friend who I've been talking about, who started playing the game with Yuna, he says that every time he pulls, and he gets every BT. So I tried it for myself, and it worked. So it looks like I have a foolproof strategy now. Good players do in fact just pull the weapons.
Can your friend post online that post on Reddit that they've gotten all of the BTs so far and they're a new player and they don't make content? So the whole bullshit about a content creator like luck or you get pulls up or rate up is total nonsense. There's still people that still believe that.
Unironically, is a waste of oxygen. When you are late, hit us with no. I'm not doing the Toska Key thing ever again. Y'all are very.
Oh man.
I'm getting a
Saint 90 can't come soon enough.
Oh no, never again. It's just not happening. Okay, do not call. Ink, what you been eating lately?
Well, I went for a run today because I ate a lot of tacos.
Oh, boy.
So I gotta cancel that out, and on top of it, I was eating like cookies and other stuff, and
damn, dude.
Yeah, I need to control that. So run 4 miles under 10-minute pace, which is really slow for me, but it's better than I was previously. So
all about the process.
Steps forward, hell yeah. So I will be eating probably chile verde tonight with some white rice because I'm out of brown rice.
I love me some brown rice. I have been eating I chefed up some basic chicken breasts and a big thing of broccoli and a protein shake because I'm still cutting. Low carbs, weight loss is going fine. I think I've lost 6 pounds since I got back from vacation. I know how to lose weight.
Oh yeah.
I've been drinking water, coffee, cutting things down, and sweating while playing Metroid Dread as I get my ass beat for hours on end. Although it only took me like 13 hours to beat the game, not even 100% completion, so I guess I didn't sweat that much.
I heard it's like an 8 to 10 hour game on average.
Yeah, that's just for completion. But if you're going for 100%, right. I did a lot of exploring, and I think I told you guys this because you guys haven't played any like multiplayer games with me. But like anything with a map, I get lost. It's actually really bad. One of my famous moments with my buddies is when we were playing FF14 together, and I was running into a wall because I was trying to follow the map, and I didn't realize I was going into a wall. He's just staring at me, wondering where the fuck I was going. And it happens in every game with a map. I don't know why I just go full stupid when navigation comes in. But I can't navigate when I drive. It's just My internal GPS is messed up, so I don't know where I was going with that. Anyways,
have you seen that Reddit post that's like, gaming has come so far, and they show a clip of like Tomb Raider from 1994 or whatever, 1996, something like that. I don't know. And like it shows Lara Croft running into a wall, and she actually puts her hands up on the wall, and like you can see that she's pushing against it. And then they show a clip from a video game, like I forgot which game, like 3 years ago, and the person's just full on sprinting into the wall, not stopping. There's no animation. It's like, wow, gaming has come so far that they've literally removed the notion of pushing against a wall from a game. But that was like top voted on the gaming subreddit from like maybe a week ago.
I wonder how much time went into animating Lara Croft pushing against the wall and coding that, and then and then in new games, kind of like, does this matter? Is anyone gonna care if they run into a wall?
See, I cared about that with Samus and Dread, because you get up against the wall and she puts her hands. It's the attention to detail that's really good. It just makes everything
smaller
cohesive.
scale games, right? Like I'm sure, what was the modern game they used? I bet it was a big open world game.
I don't remember the game. I'll find it. Maybe, but yeah, I don't remember the game. I've definitely never played it before.
Koji said BC is DFFO Zoro. It's funny because my friends do call me Zoro sometimes when I can't navigate. It's quite literally like that.
So
it is that bad. Yeah, I need a
minute for how. Jesus Christ, your IRL friends refer to you as an anime character?
Well, yeah, they say like, "Wow, you navigate like Zoro."
That's your
like,
that's
you're
your
going,
point of
full
reference.
Zoro right now. Yeah, because I can't. I'm really that bad. Like I wish I was exaggerating, but I really.
No, I don't care about that. I don't.
God.
It's the anime reference.
I mean, who else gets lost that badly? Can you think of any like famously directionless fictional characters?
Don Quixote.
Okay, you fucking boomer. Anyways,
Aunt Jemima? I don't know.
What?
This ties into
okay, well, I know who Donkey. Well, Aunt Jemima. No. What? That's
This is a good segue into how mad I am that
okay.
everyone went for the fucking Yu-Gi-Oh jokes for Ace when he's playing 7-stud poker and nobody knows real card games.
No,
nobody knows
I don't.
poker, the
Listen,
oldest fucking game.
listen,
it's Yu-Gi-Oh! I activated my trap card.
Listen,
fucking weebs.
Listen, I don't. I will fully admit that it is corny that everyone chose the same joke, and I don't know any card games. My biggest deficiency aside from navigating is the fact that I can never remember how to play a single card game, and I don't know how to deal cards or like shuffle them. You know, where you're like and you flip them together. My mom harasses me every time I'm home because I can't shuffle cards correctly, and I just throw them on the table.
What is wrong with you?
So the only time I played poker.
In front of me.
The only time I played poker was in Watch Dogs. And then I learned it there because I had to beat the game because I wanted to 100% Watchdog for some reason. But then I forgot it. Like I forget how to play spades every single time. And I played a lot of spades, but I always forget it. It's really weird. So I'm sorry that I don't know any other card games. I'll do better next time. Is that okay, Mino?
What do you do in Vegas?
I don't go to Vegas.
Okay. I didn't say you specifically. I said this entire community.
This
entire community.
I'm giving my reasons for why I cheaped out.
It's like, Ace uses cards, and the cards flip over. The entire community is like Yu-Gi-Oh. That's their only reference. Even
because
though
we're fucking
the
weebs,
the buff name,
nobody
and
knows
the
poker.
trap
Okay, I'm not gonna
names
speak for anybody, but I don't know how. I didn't even know those were poker things until like last week.
Their whole cards and blind, like the fucking debuff is called blind stud. Like, it's ridiculous.
I'm sorry.
Guys, 7-stud poker. That's why the traps are 7 turns. 1 turn face down, and then when you flip and reveal the fucking cards.
Is that what it's for?
Yeah, you flip the cards one by one to reveal your full hand.
Wow, that's really cool.
That's why.
I thought it was just anime.
Comparing it to Yu-Gi-Oh! Trap card is like, what was Sneasel's friend saying the other day? It's like comparing teleporting to tech. Some dumb shit. But you know what I mean. Like,
yes.
What a low-level connection that is.
Huh.
Yeah, it's worse than my analogies. Shit.
Okay, well, lesson learned. If I ever see a character again, I'll research the card game they're from. Maybe I should learn how to play poker. I was really good in Watch Dogs, but again, in Watch Dogs, you kind of cheated to win, so I guess I wasn't very good at it.
Poker was like my mainstay side income in college for funding all of the random food that I wanted to eat.
That doesn't surprise me. It's also cool, but wow. Okay, that's nifty little trivia.
Han Chu says Type 0 cards, characters, a lot of them were named after playing cards.
I knew that. That's obvious. Well, that doesn't directly connect to poker. They're just playing cards.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Actual Dissidia topics, though. Jesus Christ. Okay, that was a lot of weirdness.
Talking about Ace and cards is Dissidia topic. That's fine.
Okay, whatever. Ink, I'll give you the floor. You wanted to talk about Rainesmau, and I don't know what you wanted to talk about, and I didn't try and figure it out. So, you have the floor.
I mean, it's been a while since I feel like the community has generally not understood a 2-character combination, or maybe even a 3-character combination. I don't really know of any. I feel like Beatrix, Selphie, and Kate Sith, and Lael, Kate Sith, and Selphie were like pretty self-explanatory. Like, people generally got that. You didn't need any explainer. You sort of figured out what they did, and they were so powerful at the time that you just pressed buttons, and you were usually good.
Well,
and I feel like the community.
I want to say before you continue that the community back during the C, was that C50 or was that C60 era? I think that was C60.
That was. It wasn't C. Yeah, it was C60.
So the community back in C60 era is wildly different from the community we have now. There's a lot more people.
That's true.
So I don't think that's and we also weren't as plugged into the common player base as we are now.
No, that's true. That's totally fair.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, this is the first time in a while. I mean, like, Selly Bell from our troop literally did the infographic just because it was like, he was like, yeah, I saw so many people confused, and I just figured, what the hell, I'll whip up a graphic, and did a video like demonstrating the loop and everything. And it's been a while since we've had to put out that kind of explainer. I think maybe the most complex gameplay before that was probably Eldnarsh, like playing Eldnarsh really well. And I feel like no one cared enough. And before that, it was Alice, right? Like, it's probably one of the hardest combinations of characters, and it's really highlighted the skill gap. I mean, hell, I didn't even know I wasn't aggressive enough with them, right? That I was like trying Sid Raines, Aphmau, and Sabin with his LD, and I couldn't beat it. And then freaking Nidre did a Sabin with no gear, or like a gold EX weapon, and fucking got 14 turns. And I mean, it just shows that like the skill gap is massive if you're not familiar with playing that level of aggression. Even that is like very unfamiliar, very strange. So I feel like they've really highlighted a skill gap, like massive skill gap in the community, which I thought was interesting. It's been the first time in a while.
Okay. And Wait, I just want to follow up. No, yes, I'm adding on to his point.
Thanks, Nick Hogan, for membership. All right, go ahead.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I thought you were gonna rebuttal. Yeah, no, Ink. I completely agree with you. That's a really good comparison you made. I was gonna make that comparison that like Rainesmau is as hard as like using Eldnarsh, because that brings me to the other character that I want to complain about in the same vein, Ace, who I think is harder than Eldnarsh, or at least this, like Rainesmau and Ace probably both harder to pull off than Eldnarsh. And Eldnarsh is a character that's so complicated that most people don't even want to bother touching, right, Ink? So I'm right there with you. I think it's really elitist to assume that the entire community can Rainesmau through all the content. Very, very complicated. Like you said, you ran Rainesmau and you couldn't finish the content. And it's not an instant win button, right? And like, once we finish on Rainesmau, I want to talk about Ace, too. Ace is even worse. I feel like Ace is far more complicated than both of them combined, and you get less reward for pulling it off successfully. But I just wanted to add on to that. Ink, you can continue that, or BC can rebuttal.
I have
either
something
way
to add, something that I was thinking about, and I don't want to conflate learning curve with ease of use. I think that's a very, very dangerous thing, because these things are pretty simple to pull off once you understand what you're doing. Now, I will say something that's hard to pull off is like Noctis 0 turn runs. And that's one of the things this week that miffed me about the whole thing, when I saw Sidmau getting compared to Noctis 0 turn runs, because that requires a lot of brain power to pull off consistently. Whereas Rainesmau, when you get the, God damn it, when you,
it was me that said
no, it wasn't you first. It was not just you. It was multiple people. It wasn't just you. But once you get the gist of it, like obviously if you try it first time and it doesn't work, you need to refine and you need to work on it. But once you get it down, it's like second nature. And I think that the reason we saw a lot of people confused by it was because there were so many people trying it. I'm sure if the same amount of people tried Elnarsh, tried Noctis zero turn runs, tried Alice, tried any other character with some semblance of nuance who go beyond press, like people got confused by fucking Aranea, okay? Mino has dragged my cynicism of the average player to exponential levels this week by pointing out that things really, we take our ability understanding turn orders, how kits intertwine for granted, and when there's like 2 or more moving parts, like damage over time, like making turns, and I've seen people have learned. And GRW, I'm not putting you on the blast. You did a great job on your clear, but you learned a couple things to tweak your runs. I don't know if you're listening to this, and you knocked it out the park. So it wasn't that Rainesmau was difficult. It was just that you had to learn it. And once you learned it, it was straightforward. So I do not think I'm gonna die on this fucking hill. Rainesmau is not difficult. People just need to take the time to learn it, practice, get the combo down, and then it's cake to do. My buddy, who I talk about, who just started the game a month ago, he was able to Rainesmau the Lufenia Plus. After just a couple tweaks of learning it and saying like, oh, I was swapping too early, I was spamming my turns too much, I got to time my buffs correctly, stuff like that. You learn stuff like that, you make those little tweaks, and you have exponential gains. So at the end of the day, Rainesmau is just, if Aphmau doesn't have a turn next, bring her in front with Sid. If Sid doesn't have a turn next, Victory Smite and get them back. Other than that, just press buttons. And you're
do you want to take this? Do you want to rebuttal to this on the why Rainesmau is difficult?
Also, thank you, Joe Mace, for the membership.
Or do you want me to set you up?
Because I am dying on the hill that it has a learning curve, but it is not actually difficult to pull off once you learn. That's my take.
You go first, Mino. I'll close it.
Okay, first, Ace is going to get his turn, right? Because I want to point out that.
Yeah,
I'm probably going to agree with you on Ace.
I want to point out that Nidre. Ink just said Nidre was able to do a 14-turn run of his run with a Sabin with no, like a very weak Sabin. Nidre was able to pull off Rainesmau, but he could not pull off Ace in T5, and he tried, right? Like we like Nidre tried several times, and he said,
I don't know. Is several times true? I don't know if that's true.
What team was he trying though? Because it's not just Ace.
I don't.
Also, he's not the greatest example because he's just lazy.
The point is, he is Rainesmau. He mastered Rainesmau.
He did master Rainesmau.
Could not master Ace.
No, that's not true either. Let's not represent him. That's bullshit.
All right. Okay. All right.
He did not master Ace. He just didn't want to try and learn it. There's a huge difference there.
So the problem with, first off, I think that there's more learning involved with Rainesmau than there is on the average, like, let's say it's in the top 10% of things that you need to invest time into to figure out in order to do it properly, right? In the game. Like there's you name Noctis zero turn is way harder. Probably lightning solos or cater solos are luck. But maybe lightning solos are pretty elegant and take time. But
those
I feel like
it's more difficult. Solos, yeah, you need to know exactly.
No, they are more difficult, right? But there's only a handful of those examples that are harder, right? You could name every other character in the game, and it's generally easy to pick them up and use them. Like it's on the level of like Realm. Like learning how to play Realm well is hard. You can pick her up and press buttons, but you're going to run out of skills real fast. She does require nuance, and once you get her, she was obviously really good. But like the problem between these two and Ace is I think they're different. Most people are going about how to play Ace. That is not the right way to do it because it's so damn complicated. It's unnecessarily complicated when all you fucking need to say is don't use his HP plus while there's a trap active. If you just say that and you just do that, you will run Ace easily. It's super easy to use him. But if you try and explain, oh, there's a trap, and then it flips, and then there's another trap, and that one goes off. No, fuck that. It's way too many words. Just don't HP plus if there's a trap up. That's it.
I mean, you could say the same thing about Rainesmau. Don't turn swap if one of the characters is already next.
Right, but you have to check your buffs, right? So
you have to check your buffs for everyone. So I don't think saying
there's
default Dissidia knowledge.
Aphmau is so fucking annoying with her 4 buffs, all the same fucking icon. I think
no, they are actually all different.
I don't care.
They are quite literally all different.
Victory Smite is generic. Victory Smite is generic,
and everything else
really
is
annoying.
different. And that's 4 turns. And saying pay attention to buffs is a big thing to consider. If you can't pay attention to buffs, then you're not good at the game.
No. Aphmau makes it way harder, man. It's a chore. It's like checking Kieran's buffs, man. They're so annoying.
Okay, I'm not saying it's annoying. I'm saying it's simple enough to do. Just pay a little attention. Checking buffs is not much to ask from a player who can do Lufenia Plus. If you can do Lufenia Plus, you know how to check buffs.
All right, it's annoying. I maintain, right? Ace is very easy. I feel like Zidane is probably easier to run in T5 in the middle than he is than Ace, right? Because you can throw all your calls up at the beginning of the fight, which BC, like watching your T5 run from JP, like I was like, man, I really want to run Zidane in the middle because that looked like so much fun that basically you got to like Stellar Circle and deal high damage because of the ads that are always there, and you got to delete the middle one's turn. So you could, even though you didn't do it in your video for some reason, like throw up all your calls at the beginning. I used Aranea call, I threw it on right away, Jack call, Kurasame call, maxed everything, and then I just went ham. And it was super fun, and Ace would not have allowed you to do that, right? Ace is more like give the boss a bunch more turns, and you're going to need protection because of all the HP attacks. It's like totally different axis of strategy between those two.
Well, yeah, but I'm focused on the difficulty. Like
let's focus on Rainesmau. Let's focus on Rainesmau.
I'm not seeing there. I'm okay with the learning curve, and I don't even think the learning curve is necessarily that steep either. But there is a learning curve. Like you cannot just press buttons. But that's a lot of the things in the game. So though having to not being able to press buttons, having to watch your buffs. The hardest thing I'll say about it is not spamming the turn swaps. I think that's the only semi-difficult thing, but everything else is a core thing you should already understand if you're in Dissidia Endgame. So I will die on this hill. Rainesmau is not difficult. It just has a slight learning curve. And
I got you, Ink. I got you, Ink.
Go ahead.
Okay, look. Check this out. All right. Can we all agree here that the more variables in a process, the more complicated it is?
Yes.
Right, Ink?
100%.
Yes. And so with Rainesmau, like I gotta see which one of the two is going first, and then I gotta target the other person and pull them up, and that's an extra button press. I could press the wrong person on the way there.
But how long does it take to do that?
And then
you look to the left of the screen. Oh shit! Aphmau is not next, and the boss is a turn next. Let me drag her forward.
Look, man, I'm listing out the processes and all the steps you can fuck up on. So that's two button presses already. As Ink said, not only are there 4 buffs
that look completely different
to keep track of,
that look completely different.
She has an overhead,
but
and
Raines
has an overhead. Yeah, and Raines has buffs that you have to keep track of too. And then you got to see if the enemy's coming up.
If one is low, check it.
And then
these are not
huge
cases.
And then in some cases, you have to you have to use calls and apply debuffs. And then
you do that normally.
And then now we're hearing that future fights are gonna have like windows where they're launch immune or take reduced damage from launch, and we have to factor that in. And then all this while you're also keeping track of like HP threshold attacks, the orb, boss rotation, whatever your third party member is doing. Like,
how many tacos have you eaten this week? There's a lot you have to factor in.
This feels like a softball.
And no, seriously, I agree with Ink, right? At what point is the game asking too much of its players?
I don't know, but if you can't do it, get better. I think
these
are core competencies.
When are we going to get the EX charge on the screen so that Eldnarsh is way easier to use?
I don't know.
By the way.
That'd be nice. I mean, that's not helping anybody win with pennies either. What I'm trying to say is, if you are lacking in the core understanding of the game, then obviously you're gonna eat shit with Sidmau. But if it takes you just practice, I think with some practice, everybody can figure this out. And I think a lot of the frustration came from people who weren't. And if you're unable to figure it out, then ask people, like people have done, study it. I think that this did not need a flow chart or a PowerPoint. I think it was not nearly as complicated as that, just as simple as not knowing how not to burn out. And those things come with practice. Getting people to help you a little bit. Minor tweaks that can go a long way.
We got more thanks for that Rainesmau graphic. We got personal emails saying, oh my gosh, thank you so much for this. This is really helpful. Appreciate you guys putting out extra content. We got more fucking thanks for the Sidmau graphic than literally the last fucking 3 infographics combined.
Okay,
that's how many thanks we got for it.
So. That is, I'm not. See, and that goes back to me saying so many people tried it. It's a function of pure numbers. Like so many people tried it. Obviously, a lot of people are going to complain about it and not understand it. Especially if it's been hyped as meta, fight winner. This stuff crushes content. You're going to get a lot of those people who weren't trying anything else creative. Probably some people who've been running double RNA and Terrayong plus BT. I'm sure that they were the people that tried it and didn't understand the game mechanics. And that's a step up. So I don't think judging by number of thanks is really a metric of anything beyond the amount of people that were trying it that were unable in the first place. Because it's not a one-to-one comparison of people who could already do competent things and suddenly forgot how to play when the game to Rainesmau. I'm confident this was a population who already was not very good at the game to begin with, and had. Dude,
I'm in the population. I couldn't fucking do Raines, Aphmau,
How many tries? How many tries?
3.
3 tries. 2 tries.
Probably 2 before I just said I fucking hate Aphmau. I hate checking these buffs, and
that's what I'm talking about. The learning curve. You tried twice and gave up. That's nothing.
Right, because time is valuable to me.
Yes.
And Aphmau is so fucking annoying with her little piddly hits on her LD. It pisses me off. I don't like looking at it.
There's a lot to keep track of, and then the other characters too, right? The overheads as well.
Well, yeah. I mean. The other part that was annoying me, and this is a me problem specifically, is that I was running her with Sabin, and so Sabin has 3 framed buffs, and she gives 3 framed buffs, and that means that if I want to put up a Warrior of Light call for a shield, I have to be very specific about letting one of Aphmau's buffs fall off of Sabin. That shit is just annoying. That's just, I get that you can play around that, and that's something you can do. That doesn't mean I want to do it. That's just adding unnecessary overhead and unnecessary watching. It's why would you give a baby a chainsaw, right? You're now going to have to watch them with the chainsaw. It's just unnecessary. Just don't do it. Give the baby a spoon and you're way better.
You tried 2 times, bro.
No, I don't know. I'm with Ing. Give Babby a spoon.
I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, this directly supports what I'm saying. There's a learning curve, and you didn't take the time to learn it, and you threw it up. You threw it out.
Okay, that's what fine. Happened. But I also don't want to invest my time. That's not something that I want. I had other options, right? Why am I going to sit there? You've actually criticized me in the past for this, right? About banging my head with a bad team comp. And albeit it's not a bad team comp, but it wasn't working for me. So I went to a team comp that was way easier, and I beat it on my first try.
You've tried more bashing. When I say bashing your head, I mean beyond things that are not working. We knew Sidmau worked. and you stopped after 2 tries. So that's if anything, that directly supports me saying that there's a learning curve.
I actually didn't know that it worked. I was doing it like very close to event time. I actually hadn't done research like from watching specific runs. I watched them when we were doing the Lufenia research like a month ago, but I do too many YouTube video watchings and I don't actually remember that shit.
Okay, I got a couple of things. Sine wave. Being sarcastic, I assume, in quotes, Sidmau isn't complicated, just run it a bunch of times to master. That is not what I said. I said learn.
I think he's referring to chat. That's what a lot of people in chat are saying.
I don't think
they're
that's
saying
really...
like practice. They were saying, oh, you know, you just got to practice it or use it a couple
something
times.
Being complicated
just
doesn't mean it. The time, just because something takes time to understand doesn't mean it's complicated. It just means it takes time to understand. And things get easier with repetition. And if you want to just like easy stomp things, that's one thing. But if complicated means there's a bunch of steps and there's lots of room for, and I just don't think there's lots of room for error. I think there's small tweaks that people can make to learn how to play it better. And Multiracial Lion says, imagine if people do that on JP. How would anyone ever learn any fight? GL players have 8 months worth of resources they can look at to learn how it works. That's also true. The only thing I know about Aphmau other than LD buff is that her Brave plus heals. I mean, you don't really need to know that much about Aphmau's buffs either. Like, real talk. She's a turn funneler to Raines. That's her big job. And the buff icons are all different. And I think that if people just sat there and if we have 2 fucking weeks to beat the event. And I do this in JP sometimes. I just try and poke around with stuff, figure it out. Like me figuring out Ace. It took me a while to figure out Ace, but I don't think he's complicated. I just think it's just watching. No. Fuck you, Mino. It's just watching a debuff go down, and you, Mino, like to overcomplicate shit. And honestly, actually, I'm going to take full responsibility. It's my fault because I was the one who said I was playing Ace suboptimally, and you and Mark ran with that. When I blew that way out of proportion when it was just I let the debuff expire too early. It didn't make that big of a DPS difference.
Waiting for my turn. Waiting for my Ace turn.
Take your Ace turn, motherfucker.
No, we're still on Rainesmau.
Oh yeah, you're
right. Okay, like Ink. I don't know if you have more to say, but just to back Ink up, clearly Rainesmau is a very, very difficult combo. I don't know how. Like
clearly these nuts.
Like.
You improve shit. You don't just get to make statements of fact like that.
Aphmau only has like what 3-4 LD uses. You can't keep swapping them back and forth. I just keep doing it back and forth, and then in Raines' fight where they're both synergy, or at least Raines was synergy. I was out of Aphmau LD uses already at like 40%. It's not like a sustainable thing, and also. Anyone who says they've used Rainesmau on fights that like resist launch or immune to launch or whatever, they're lying. I don't think it's possible. I just flat out think it's impossible, and everyone is cheating in JP.
I think
so. Piggybacking on that, but not really.
Stupid.
Just going back to what Multiracial Lion said, I feel like JP is a different animal, right? We've only had 2 events. Right, in GL's history where the bosses were unknown, Arenea's event and Core's event, right? Every other event we've ever gotten, we may get a different orb or something, but the boss mechanics are familiar, right?
Yes.
Like when they rerun these Equinox stuff that was really fun, those bosses, we knew those bosses already. We knew what they did, albeit they may have functioned differently. Just because, like, when you're running it with Ultimisha being synergy, like the entire level is just going to be a little bit different. But in JP, like, you're going to try multiple things, right? Like, are you really going to take one three character combo and bash it into the ground on your first playthrough? No, you're going to try one team. You're going to decide whether it was close or not. If it's not close, you're going to switch your team up just a little to try and compensate for what you were getting wrong, and you iterate, right?
I disagree with that completely, actually. If it's
not, bash your head with one team?
Nope. I try and change my tactics. I change strategy before I change the team, unless something is fairly off, like the orb. My Divine Shiva clear and my Vayne Lufenia clears, I was off by like 20. By changing my tactics around, I was able to change like 20%. Changing my friend swaps, changing my calls. What threshold my calls were used at. I look at what I'm doing first before I change the team around, because more than likely, I'm doing something suboptimally. That's a huge difference. So no, I don't. When I have exhausted different strategies, that's when I change the team.
I don't know. I think that there's a line there between. I think that this is me as a player problem versus I think I made a bad decision, and I think that I'm adding unnecessary difficulty to something that I could beat with a more appropriately built team.
Well, I mean, appropriately built is very subjective for one, and it really, I mean, chat. Some people in chat are saying this as well. I mean, you try it, you try and figure out what might have went wrong, and if it's beyond what the team can do, then you swap. But usually, I try and stick with the team, and even with Divine Bahamut, I had runs that ended like 30% off, and I just played differently, and it was a lot better. Strategy is a very valid thing to edit first, because I don't even know where to go with that.
For me, the line is two.
Sorry, to follow up on BC, because he was having trouble word it. Basically, it's I think entering a fight with a preset team is not a good way to approach it. It's more like you analyze the fight first, and then you see what you'll bring, right? Not like, oh, I'm gonna do Rainesmau plus whatever, and then I'll do Rainesmau plus an orb checker, whatever, go in, right? I don't think you should build a team and then enter the fight. I think you should look at the fight and then build the team, if that makes more sense. I'm pretty sure that's what BC was saying.
And then if you're coming short, see why you're coming short, and don't necessarily jump on the team first. It's like in a fighting game. You know, if you're getting your ass beat by a matchup that you don't understand, you try and sit there and learn the matchup and learn your enemy and see their patterns. You don't just immediately switch characters like Eamon.
I agree that you don't immediately switch, but I don't know. For me, I'll try a team twice and say am I close? Is there something that I'm fundamentally not doing? Can I adjust my call to handle this one situation in the fight that keeps throwing me off? And if that's if it just requires more finesse for it, honestly, with my how busy I generally am, and I don't have a lot of time to bash my head against the Lufania 5 or 6 times unless it's super fun, I'm just gonna go with a team that I feel would be easier to do it.
Okay. 2 times.
I did. Here's
a
good example. I tried for T5 middle. I tried Xdeath, Core, and Celeste.
Yes.
And I got to about 70% of the middle boss's health, and I was like, "Fuck! This is not even close. This is taking forever, and it's not fun." I hadn't used Xdeath's BT yet, even, and I was just like, "Forget it. This is so far off." And I switched to Zidane, and I beat it on my second try. It took me 2 tries to get it with Zidane, but I was super close the first time, and I knew that there were small gameplay things I could do to cut it off. And literally the small gameplay things, I got 60 turns. I was short on 70 turns the first run. Second run, I made a couple changes, and I literally shaved off 10 plus turns from lowering the HP all the way down. So I don't know, sometimes you just look at a team and you're like, fuck this is not worth my time.
I agree.
But there are other people that ran Xdeath Core and they got it. Right?
Yeah. Wait. How many times did you try?
With Xdeath, Core, Celeste, I literally tried once, and I was like, fuck this is dumb. And then I did...
Yeah.
Sorry,
go ahead.
It's just the break gains were so heavily countered, and Celeste was dealing no damage. And Core was... He was okay, but my calls fell off. The calls that I threw up all fell off already. It was not a good run. And I threw Zidane in there, and it took me 2 tries. And yeah.
Okay, multiracial line.
Usually...
Wait, hold on. Multiracial line. That's a great question. Why is the small gameplay things the way to go with Zidane, but not with Rainesmau?
Wait, what?
why were you okay tweaking things with Zidane but not with Rainesmau?
So first off, Rainesmau I tried twice, and Zidane I got it on my second try. But Rainesmau, I felt like it was, like I said, it was more annoying. When you're playing Zidane, he's very, very fun to play. You're basically keeping track of his overhead, and the hardest thing that you need to do is keep track of whether you're on a free turn or not. Which, by the way, fucking Squax, can you put a visual indicator on the screen when you're on a free turn? You did it for the free skill use. Add something in the fucking UI to tell you that it's a free turn. Like flash the turn indicator, do something besides flash a quick message that's like stole turn order. And it's like, wait, did I steal turn order? I've been thinking about what I did, what I'm supposed to use here for a while. Anyway, tangent. I think Zidane's more fun to use. And he also was performing better. Like I was generally roughly checking turn count as I was going through it, and getting to 80% on my X-Death run, or getting, from 80 to 70. God, I was on like turn 30, I think. And I was like, this is way too slow. It's like not even in the realm of possibility. I need to swap him out. Whereas when I did Zidane, like I was lowering HP on a pretty consistent threshold, and I was pretty damn close to getting it on my first try. The Rainesmau thing though, like I was out of skill uses on Raines and Aphmau. I was way out of skill uses, and I was also bumping against the under 50% when they lock the turn. And I had already run out. I had exhausted all of Aphmau's stuff because I didn't use the right calls, because my calls fell off because I was taking hits. And so I lost my calls, and you definitely, like, that fight is a lot more reasonable when you have your good calls or your BT plus up. And I was trying no BT. Like that team just wasn't built for that. So I figured if I'm giving the enemy turns, I may as well run Porum, who will basically let me like go through it just fine, just giving the boss turns. I found that more fun to do. So I hope that explains it.
Mino, go ahead and make your joke.
Oh, yeah, you said on average how many times you try before you switch teams?
2.
So no third time's a charm? The joke's dead. I tried to set that up like 10 minutes
someone
ago.
guessed it in chat already.
I'm so fucking upset. Timing is everything in comedy, and
third time is not.
Unfortunate. Ink, I think 2 tries as your barometer for how many before you're willing to switch teams is a bit low, personally. I mean, if that's up to you, fine. But I just as well would say that 2 tries at something is not nearly enough to pick up something new. So if after 2 tries you go to something more comfortable, I understand. But at the same time, you cannot say really you've taken the time to learn it.
If I can qualify one thing,
go ahead.
If the team that I try twice, if I get close with it, I'll continue it. That's actually, if you remember was it Kadaj fight, where I was trying to force a team, and I literally got 1 turnover, and it was because I Brave Plus with Paladin Cecil. I literally was looking at purple numbers to kill the boss on the last turn, and it was like 6,000 Brave. Like, I was just short. Like, that one, I banged my head against the wall for a while with the same team. Like, I bashed that team into the ground because I kept getting so close that I knew it was possible. So I think it just depends on how close I get before I switch. But if I'm really far off, yeah, I'm totally not going to run a team. I'm just going to swap them out and get better people in there.
I guess it's just a different approach then. Because if I'm way off, it's either my team, but I try and strategize better around the boss. Like if it's clear, like with the boss, or I don't have enough damage, I try and maximize those things and then I'll swap. But the team being off by 30% can be like purely strategy based. So Chad, I don't know what you guys are thinking, but I think that strategy is a much bigger tell or influencer potentially than, well, no, it goes both ways. But if the team's decent enough with enough strategy, you can make it work. So I guess that comes up to preference. And I mean, if you want to just take something more comfortable, that's fine. But that also doesn't quite. If anything, it goes along with what I was saying, that there's a learning curve to Rainesmau, because it's probably not something people have really adjusted to before, with just punching it really hard, getting all your damage straightforward, letting someone sit there as a stat stick and not doing anything Bart's wise, and just funneling turns back and back. It's a different play style. If you only took 2 tries, I can understand why you probably got frustrated if that's your limit. But I think overall, if the general player base is getting frustrated after 2 tries, I would encourage them to take a little bit more time and learn, instead of defaulting to this is hard.
Did you properly sphere up your characters and get the proper artifacts?
So one thing I just want to say about that I think is interesting is I've been sort of crunching the damage formula a little bit. And if you have 90% brave damage up, you're basically canceling out the brave damage reduction that's occurring on the stage. So if the boss has super high defense, attack is just for sure better. Like, that's why attack versus brave damage, and what should I sphere on it? It's so fucking dependent on the enemy and what those stats are and your team comp. So just mix it to average it out, because otherwise it's impossible to know. You can do brave damage on a defense ignore, but outside of that, like that whole thing about like, oh my God, someone was bitching about they didn't know Ace's best spheres. And I was like, fucking go to Tifa's page and look at it then. They have the exact same sphere slots. And man, okay, I shouldn't talk about spheres. I'm going to choose violence if I go that way.
Yes, so please don't do that. Please don't go down that road. Remedial version says, is Rainesmau plus Bart's more efficient with Bart's at 3 at 3 BT plus, or is 2 at 3 good enough for him? I hope that was bait. Didn't y'all other content creators?
2 out of 3.
Go ahead.
2 out of 3
I think
is
it was
like
bait.
zippering up while you're still hanging. Like, that's fucking stupid. Don't do 2-3. Just go 3-3.
Nah, if you have to ask, do 2-2-3. See, still tell me how it goes. Didn't people, y'all other content creators, say upcoming Lufenias have lower defense stats? No, that's actually not true. They have higher defense. I don't know if you heard that. Whoever said that is wrong. I think the difference between Sid Mao and Terry Yang is setting up your bread and butter combos either with Terry Yang compared to Sid Mao. Yeah, you kind of just turn your brain off once Yang is set up, or core is set up. You just put a buff on. And that's what Mino was talking about. But I'm gonna call it learning curve and not difficulty, because once you get used to it, then it becomes second nature. Like, my buddy figured it out, and he's been playing the game for less than a month, and he put it together pretty quickly. He does play other games, so I guess he could figure that strategy out. Once you need practice on different fights too, because that's his good team. So he tried it on different fights and he got the hang of it, and now he's just steamrolling older fights with it. So I'm dying on the learning curve, Phil. Mino, I know you wanted to pivot to Ace somehow.
No, my spirit is broken.
Damn.
I had this whole troll Ace segment.
Troll? I thought you said you weren't trolling. You bitch.
I was gonna troll BC about how complicated Ace was, but now after that extensive Rainesmau talk, I don't want to do that anymore.
Okay. Don't HP plus with fucking Ace while a trap is active unless you're delaying the boss to eternity.
So I was just gonna troll Ranting Hour and then talk about Ace seriously tomorrow.
Yeah, join into the TCC podcast, folks.
But now I don't have the heart. Do you still want to talk about Ace? I can give you a real discussion about Ace.
Hold on.
Wait.
One second. Okay,
Mino lost Heart of the Cards? Holy shit.
Okay, I hate it here. I'm glad I have the power to mute you now, because I totally would if I was a dick. That was horrible. Alex Blank said the context was that defense reduction debuff. I assume you mean defense down debuffs will be less useful in the future than they have been, so that's not the case. Defense down is very vital. So if you want proof of that, go look at my runs of Arenea's Lost Chapter and my run of Vane's Lufenia, where I use Zac, and look at the difference between when I use his defense ignore skill and Beatrix's follow-ups, and when I use skill 1, which is not defense ignore. Defense is a very, very important stat, and that continues throughout all of Lufenia Plus pretty much. So whoever told you defense down is not useful has no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah, and bosses are buffing about 200% defense. So what's happening is that content creators looked at Compendium or they looked on REM's site, which lists out the defense values. And so they saw that the defense is like spiking, that it's going down, not spiking, that it's going from like, oh, Gladio's LC was, what was it, like 28,000 or 30,000? And now it's only 17,000 on Guy LC. Yeah, it's because fucking Guy LC buffs 200% defense. So your 17,000 defense turns into whatever that is, 54,000 defense. That is so much
numbers
fucking higher
aside,
than Saban's.
Defense is high, and this is why defense ignore is very useful. That's all. You don't need to worry about the numbers. Defense ignore matters, and defense is high, and defense down debuffs are very helpful. Like that's why Ferris's debuff is good. I mean, did that same person hype up Ferris for her defense down in Lufenia Plus? Perhaps. I mean, let me tell you, defense matters. Real talk. But Mino, throw the softball about Ace, so I can beat the ghost of your former opinion.
I mean, I guess. I mean, like,
I was ready to murder you.
Sure,
so
sure.
I'm glad
I
you're
mean,
demoralized.
I'm so demoralized. I thought the ranting hour was supposed to be fun. I thought we came on and like made
you
jokes.
fucking thought wrong.
Yes.
When Inkwelder pitched the topic of Rainesmau is really difficult, I thought it was a joke. I didn't realize it was a very serious rant. And so I also made a joke pitch about talking about how complicated Ace was, but after Ink was very, very seriously arguing his topic, I can't even make light of it anymore.
What is wrong? What is wrong with you that you thought I was trolling your topic idea? When was the last fucking time I did that?
You said Rainesmau was hard!
No,
the world is at a serious... Didn't you see me playing along in the beginning?
He's been playing along all week, so I started to believe him.
Joke.
I really started to believe that he meant it.
I was like, Aphmau has 4 buffs, that's so hard to keep track of. I thought you were joking. I didn't realize this was serious. Now I feel bad. I was playing along the whole time. I didn't realize you were actually upset about this. Oh my god!
I just think it's worth talking about the skill gap.
You tried
or
two times.
Or the potential.
You trying 2 times kind of deflates all of that.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I thought we were just making a joke about how Rainesmau and Ace were hard, but okay. I thought we were role-playing casuals, but. Alright, well, see, so Ink originally said, the way he phrased it was like elitism gap. Did you want to explain that so I can segue into my section, Ink?
Yeah, people are like, I ran Rainesmau with, like, this person, whoever, Bart's, before he got his BT Plus, and I stomped this. This is so easy. What's wrong with you, right? You look at the Reddit commentary, like people are actively downplaying other players, or
you should never do that.
Yeah, well, that's what I wanted. That was what I meant by the elitism, because people are like, why don't you fucking understand this? It's so easy.
You said elite. No, I can understand. Now that isn't helpful commentary, but it is relatively straightforward once you learn a couple things. So there's 2 sides of this. I will never. I'm not gonna say Rainesmau is easy, but it's I'm again there is a learning curve. Once you get it down, it's pretty simple. In Theologica, Sidmau is hard. I thought just press button. If character images appear, pick Raines/Aphmau. Oh jeez. I mean, who was the one that said Mino thought Ink was joking? Yeah, Mino has been in character this whole week, and he convinced me finally. In fact, I think even this fucker even told me earlier that he's definitely not trolling, and I believed him. I finally caved and believed him. But now,
what the fuck is wrong with you? You both are off your fucking whacker.
What are you talking about?
I had all these jokes set up for this fucking stream. So like Ink put something like elitism gap, and I was like, what's an elitism gap?
I still am curious as to what.
I said
elitism
what's
is one thing, but
gap?
elitism gap. I think. Did you mean skill gap, or sounds like you meshed the words there together?
He said elitism gap. I said what is an elitism gap, and Ink said essentially The nuance of Rains and Aphmau together, coupled with difficult Loof Plus, are highlighting that players take their previous experience for granted, saying it's easy sub 20 turns. Meanwhile, others are using BT Plus to side them and failing. So I guess you're saying, I think, Ink, you're saying like, nah, I don't know what you're saying.
It's a learning curve. People just need to learn why they're failing. It's clearly working otherwise. So the only
people
difference...
are frustrated and basically being, I don't know, they're like attacking other players for not taking the time to learn it, right?
I mean,
which is dumb.
If you don't take the time to learn something and complain about it, then I'm gonna tell you to get good. That's not an.
Are they complaining, or are they saying,
I don't know.
"Hey, I tried this scheme and I couldn't do it"? Right? There's a difference between that.
Then I'm not talking to them. I've seen people complain. I thought
you're talking to a lot of people right now. You're live on the internet.
I am. I've seen plenty.
You see, guys. I came for a good time, and now there's actual fighting happening. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening anymore. I thought the ranting hours of ranting at other people. I had this whole joke worked out. I didn't know what elitism. I didn't know what elitism gap meant. I said. What did where's the joke I wrote here? I said...
You wrote it down, you fucking loser.
Yeah, I wrote it down. I know, I wrote it down in the chat, and you read it. Oh, I said, saying Rainesmau or Ace is easy to use is as elitist as the top 1% telling homeless people to just get a job and work harder. I thought that was the angle we were going for. What's happening right now?
I don't know. We are entirely too deep in the irony. I don't know where we are.
Are you actually arguing Rainesmau is difficult? What's happening?
Oh my fucking god, we're off of Rainesmau. Let's move on. Holy shit!
So I had this whole speech about how Ace was difficult. You wanted me to pitch you a softball. I had all these jokes like Ace is like Eldnarish. Or like Ace
I really
is
thought
like,
you meant that stuff.
Ace is like worse than Trey. You know, like Ace is just the worst version of Trey. Ace looks like it was hard enough to tell apart Ace and Trey by looks. Now their kid is the same too. You know, I had all this material. I don't want to get into it anymore. If we were actually arguing unironically for Rainesmau, so now this is just a mean parody. So we can talk about Ace though. BC, unless you wanted me to...
Please trash Ace.
Okay. So
Can we trash Mari also?
No.
Okay.
So, like, jokes aside, I guess, if we're gonna have a real discussion, I can just use this to hammer out my podcast approach.
Yes,
but
as you always do.
From the beginning of the month, right before Greens got here, BC argued Ace #2 Green of the month out of our 4 options. That is what BC argued, and BC said, I played suboptimally and Ace was paying dividends, doing really fucking well in content. Okay. Well, first of all, BC's skill level is above average.
Yes.
Okay.
It is.
And
it's way above average, apparently.
I truly believe, I told him and Type Zoe very early on, they're real young. You know, they're real naive about how humanity is.
I got showed the fuck up this week.
And like, I told them a lot of things. I forgot what the other thing I was right about this month was. Oh, Rainesmau. Yeah, I said the average player wasn't going to get Rainesmau, and we just had 30 minutes of proof right here
I didn't understand how, but I read through that Reddit thread of all the... I mean, like, it's like they said, like the infographic. Like, a lot of people were trying and flopping, and it just didn't cross my mind. I mean... I have way different expectations. I mean, I take a lot of the things that we do in the game for granted, and I shouldn't assume those things. That's my bad.
I
should break things down easier, and not everybody's used to like term manipulation. You're right. There's a lot of points of failure that I took for granted. You know, I think about these things secondhand, but not everybody does. So it's something to consider.
Yeah,
I think they can learn it. I think they have the capability to, but a lot of people just don't know it off the bat, and that's it could definitely be a roadblock.
Right. And just using that as a jumping off point, if Rainesmau is difficult, and as Ink said, there is evidence throughout the community this weekend or two that it is, right? There's a lot of people asking for Rainesmau. There's a lot of threads on Reddit attempting to explain Rainesmau and getting a ton of upvotes. A lot of people aren't getting it. You know, GRW, sorry to use you as an example again, but I remember he came into
He's a success story.
Yeah, he came into the Discord.
Who learned it and massively in exponential growth.
GRW came in to the Discord basically asking for help with Rainesmau, and because he's like, I wasn't getting it, and then BC and others helped him out, and then once he got more of the concepts, he was able to get it down. He shaved tons of fucking turns,
tons of turns and damage,
tons of turns off his run.
He tried a couple times and he figured it out.
Yeah, and nail on the coffin of Rainesmau is just the concept of Rainesmau is very easy. The turn swapping is very easy. The point is, as launches are not something everyone understands. All right, I'm telling you, if launches were easy, Squex Airlines would have been more universal.
Now, I will say Square Enix Airlines had even more moving parts because you had to set up the delays between three people.
Squex Airlines was used by experts.
Yes.
Only experts use Squex
Airlines was not intuitive. That required skill. That required a lot more skill.
Exactly. So I'm saying launch as a mechanic naturally is a little beyond average player skill. Let's be fucking honest. I don't care what your skill level is in chat. Let's be honest. Launch is a little above average player skill. You could see that in Lael's Lufania when he came and people didn't use Lael. A lot of people were having so much trouble lining up launches without Lael in Lael's Lufania. So the fact that Airlines is already super hard to pull off because Airlines was hyped as shit. When Airlines was a JP thing, who ran it to the ground? It was like V-Power or someone, right?
No. Wait. Say it again, because I was typing in chat.
Who ran Airlines into the ground in JP?
That was like VL.
Oh yeah, so VL, right. VL's a very good player, and everyone saw that when Kais was debuting in GL. They're like, oh shit, I'm gonna do that. Very few people fucking did.
Same with Noctis zero turn runs.
Exactly. Yes. I remember Zeno, I always bring up, he'll say in his server, a lot of people in his server claimed they were going to Airlines a lot. Almost nobody did. So Airlines launching in general. So you got the turn manipulation. That itself is decently easy, but then you throw in launches. That's going to throw people off already.
Yes, a lot of points of failure.
You throw in turn extension. That's going to throw people off already because I tell BC all the time, I watch a bunch of streams while I work from home, and people do not understand you save your summon or your burst right before the enemy turn to get extra turns. Some people just pop it early, and that's why Rainesmau fails a lot, because they do all the swaps even though the enemy turn's not even on the screen.
Yep.
They waste all the fucking LDs, and then boom, they hit a brick wall. So there is a lot of moving parts for Rainesmau. That being said, if you're a veteran of the game, Rainesmau is very self-explanatory. That being said, also being said, I think Ace is harder than Rainesmau. I will stand by it.
To your veteran thing, if you've been doing endgame, if you're an endgame veteran.
Yes, endgame veteran. If you're someone who's been clearing endgame content for like a year or so.
Also, Malicite said, do people actually find launch complicated? That's a joke, right? Dog. Don't make me bring up your struggles in my comment section. That's all I'm gonna say. Keep going, Mino.
Who are you calling?
Malicite. Don't call anything complicated. Don't ask rhetorical questions like that when I see you struggling, bro. Chill.
Okay. Oh, he's asking for you to bring up receipts now. Holy shit. Are we doing this? Is this prime rant? It's up to you, BC. This is your show.
No.
This is your show. He's asking for receipts. All right, okay. So Rainesmau, so I explained, while I understand maybe your average player will struggle with Rainesmau, it is essentially not that complicated a concept. That being said, I fully unironically stand by, oh no, you made Ink Rage quit. I fully stand by that Ace is a little more complicated and less necessary than Rainesmau, right? Because mastering Rainesmau will get you through some of Hell Month. It'll get you through some of the toughest content, ignore orbs, pull less. Yes. Ace has these qualities, but he has more moving parts. Would you agree to that? There's more moving parts.
Absolutely. It's the appearance of moving parts. It's just watching a debuff go down.
Yeah, that's true. So I mean, it's not as bad as Eld as I said previously. I'll give a real opinion tomorrow on the podcast, but for sure, I was very right that Ace is not a clear, easy second choice screen this month. because already he's dropped less than 24 hours ago. He dropped less than 24 hours ago. We are seeing crazy complaints of any character you see that does off-turn damage or damage over time.
Listen,
go for it.
That happens every time in JP forever. That happens on every character who doesn't do a million damage in your face. So I don't think that's within the first 24 hours. I don't think that's a sign of being complicated. I think that's a sign of people being fucking stupid.
That is just tomato.
Okay.
It's two sides of the same coin. Like what? Like
okay,
what do you?
You're right. You're right. You're right. Nope. You're right. You're right. But that being said, what I was going to go into after that was that just because it's in the first 24 hours, people haven't settled down, and again, learning curve, taking the time to actually figure out what's going on. Saying, okay, it's same with fucking Core, and Core was a great choice, wasn't he? No, actually, I take it back. I take it back. I take it back.
Yeah, come on, get the fuck out of here.
Take it back. I capped. My bad. Well, Core. No, even then, like, what's the difference? No, okay, I'm gonna go into nuclear hot take.
What's the difference? What?
No. Watching a debuff down, watching a debuff go down on the enemy versus watching the link buff go down on your party of Core. What?
Okay.
Ace is debuff Core. Fight me.
Okay. I'm gonna steal ideas off of all our other buddies, Macnol especially. Okay, off-turn damage is very, very fucking hard for people to understand. Not only off-turn damage, but letting the enemy have turns. There's a huge portion of I'm gonna say 60% of the people who do Lufania Plus, know how to no-turn. If you take away the ability to no-turn, that'll fall to like 20%. Alright, we have some amazing players who know how to no-turn all the fights. Once you take away no-turn, and that's why I'm predicting Vayne Cycle is going to be such a shit show. Because
the dooming was necessary. We need. I'm going to start making people scared of every fight, even if people are going to say afterwards it wasn't that hard. I'd rather people overshoot than undershoot, or else we get clearly, because I spend months I spend months trying to calm hysteria, only for people to not get it eventually. So clearly, So I'm never trying to calm anybody down again. I'm gonna make you all live in perpetual fear of Dissidia.
I got a finger on the pulse of the community, and basically all the tough guys. Lufania Plus this first cycle, no big deal, because you can no-turn it. If you bring a green Zidane or some dumb bullshit like Tidus Core or Zell Core plus throw an X-Death in there or some shit, you could no-turn all of Zidane's cycle, and many people did.
Yes.
But these same people, they couldn't do Yuna's fight, because you could not no-turn Yuna's fight. You had to deal with the debuff. You could not deny the turns.
Well, that's not true, because fucking Goose's crackhead ass no-turned it.
Okay, but he's not your average player. Alright, we're saying your average tough guy who only knows how to no-turn fights. Alright, like, that's a whole nother fucking thing. So the fact is that Ace's hold card is face down. That needs an enemy turn to activate, or you trigger it again.
That's the only part tripping people up. The fact that you can activate
and that's the whole part. That's all he got.
That's not even complicated. It's just like once you I can just control when it goes off. That's it. Other than that, it's just watching a debuff go down.
Yeah, and so basically,
and you can front load it. That's it.
It's hard enough.
It's a spicy. It's a premium debuff. Also, ink left because you got a word call, guys. Don't make it what it isn't.
Okay, so basically, the no-turners are going to burn through that buff fast, right? Because they don't want to wait for the enemy to go to trigger it. They're going to double proc it, LD and then HP plus.
That's a good idea, though. If you're trying to do more boss
But these same people we've been seeing are burning out fast. They're like, Ace only has 3 LD charges, not going to fucking last. Like, that doing it is burning out fast. Or you go the other way, and you extend it too long, and then you're clipping. Like, I think that's the mistake you were making, BC, right? Like, you try to run it out 7 before applying. Like, you're gonna fuck up. There are more.
That's not that much of a damage loss, though.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. What I wanted to make the Eldnar's comparison yesterday was, and I'm gonna drop the Eldnar's comparison. I was convinced, but the reason why I was saying it was because it's context sensitive. Like I said before, I said before, Eldnarsh, even though he has the same strategy going into every fight he plays differently. Depending on enemy speed, depending on ally speed, and his EX charge, like, there's not a... Yeah, it's all variables. You play context sensitive.
Decision points.
Fuck you, I was gonna say that. It's decision points every turn. And it's the same with Ace, right? It is constant decision points. It's constantly, do I want to burn AA or free turns to get more ticks of the buff? Do I want to apply or not as the enemy turn is coming up? Etc. Like you have to look at the entire playing field.
Like Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yes. Shut up! No, like poker! Like poker! Alright? And so I'm saying... Ace is 100% my type of character. Decision points, high complexity, but it is not a character I would recommend to most people. And I feel like BC Shield...
I have more faith. Nah, they're gonna thank me. They're gonna fucking thank me for Shiva and Kadaj lost chapter and Bane's fight and Twins fight. Oh, I'm getting thanks. Fuck you. I'm getting thanks. I'm getting receipts.
Nope. BC shield the shit out of Ace. And then all the fucking hipsters shield the shit out of Ace. For the average player, I do not think for the average player Ace is a good pick.
They will get him to work, and when they see all the aces prospering on those tricky fights, they're gonna run him again and see like, oh, now I get it. They're gonna be like, now I get it. Like, all right, I get it now. It's you know what? I'm setting the metaphorical face ace in the hole trap whatever poker bullshit right now. And when the enemy turn hits and that debuff goes off and we got those 6 turns, oh boy, I'm about to get thanks. Hell yeah! Look at that metaphor.
You just said at the beginning of this fucking episode that you regret overestimating the player base. You just fucking said that.
That being said, I do believe the player base those who can learn will thank me when Ace's prime time comes.
No, Pot makes a great point. Is the average player really listening to?
No, PCC that's why I don't have to. That's why I don't have to deal with it.
I don't know. There are some pretty average players here that I don't know. I'm sure there are TCC and Ranting Hour listeners that don't consistently do like Loof Plus.
Well, as someone said, they watched my video and found out about Ace's HP Plus. I mean, if anything, my multiracial line. Thanks for remembering up. They saw that if anything, in my videos, I just spaced the debuffs out, and I just looked ahead of my turn and it's like, all right, I got a couple left. Plan the debuff out, let it go off, and I had pretty much the same stream. What I told Silocons in the Discord earlier was that Ace's traps are just a set amount of damage.
Yes,
he's doing. Yes. So when they go off, doesn't matter.
Yes,
and that's what probably. And so people are focused on burning out. But what does it matter if you burn them all in the first part of the battle and don't have any at the end of the battle versus if they're still going off at the end of the battle? It doesn't actually matter. It's just a mental thing.
Yep. That's the mistake I made when I was playing Ace yesterday. I tried to treat him like Eld. I felt like I needed the traps up every enemy turn. I didn't. I came to that conclusion, and I talked to BC because I compared him to Eld. I was like, oh, anyone who's played Eld knows that the skill gap is enormous. There are players who can keep the enemies locked.
Yo, how many cards are in a deck? 52, right? How many debuff uses does Eld? Never mind. This isn't going anywhere. Stop.
Stop.
Nope.
Stop.
Nope.
Anyways, so right. I was like, anyone who's played Eld knows there's a huge skill gap because there are some players that can easily keep the entire fight locked down the entire time and have skill uses out, and other people who can only do it in bursts, who can't nearly keep it locked down enough. And I was thinking like, oh, Ace is hard because keeping his traps, but it's not the same. Because as BC and I talked about, if Eld fucks up, he's dead. That's it. No terror, your team gets wiped. That's the whole point of Eld. If you fuck up, you're done. But Ace is, as we were saying, the worst thing is you lose some DPS. The worst case is you lose a couple of turns of your trap and you lose some DPS. And then the best case scenario is you do a lot of DPS. Like the only risk here is how big of a number you get. So I do admit that, but I do think still there's going to be a big gap between players on the number they get. Ace will either be an amazing DPS or a substandard DPS. And there's lots of people already reporting, again, it's early, the first 24 hours, that, oh, Ace's DPS is really lackluster. You know, like, Trey is out DPSing Ace because, you know, Trey's traps don't clip. The danger of Ace is that his shit can clip. If you play badly, you're losing a lot of DPS. You know, because
but
BC
if you just play him like, if you just play it like normal traps, like, okay, other one goes off, put new one down, and you just do that the whole fight, that's fine.
Yeah. And you know, because BC expects it, to make an FF14 analogy, because I'm going back to it's all on my brain, is that any real high-level FF player knows that if you clip your dots, you're dead. You killed your DPS. Don't clip your fucking dots. That's it. But like, it's
really?
I really think I stand by. We had the decision. Okay. We had this discussion at the beginning of the month. I stand by it. Bart's #1 green, then Ish for the average player. I cannot, in good conscience, recommend Ace. Cannot.
Okay.
At least the LD is fine, because you're talking about future fights.
Yep. And you're right. The LD is fine. The LD is fine.
But to green him, that is that's a big ask. That's a tall ask.
You know what? I agree. That completely changed my mind. Just the fact that you pointed out the green part, because Ace can, and I mean, if anything, I was representative at that, because I didn't green my Ace. His B tier was at 0 out of 3, and even then I didn't even need to use that, and he still did his job.
Yeah, right? Okay, exactly.
Yep. All right, yeah, I'm convinced.
All right, okay. Do we have anything else?
I don't think so. I'm a little depressed at the fact that you were in fact being ironic. You finally convinced me, motherfucker.
What do you mean?
About the
convince you of what?
I was convinced you weren't trolling.
Okay. To clarify, I was not trolling when I said Rainesmau is not going to be easy for your average player. I meant that.
Yeah, you said so much stuff. Everything's like jumbled up now.
I meant all the complication stuff. The only thing I was just playing up how insanely impossible Rainesmau and Ace were, and how the game was asking too much of the players, and how like this is too complicated. Like the common sense thing is, you're right. You can practice it. It's really not that bad, and it's not that Rainesmau is the problem. It's general
fundamentals.
Game. Yeah, fundamentals. It's fundamentals that are the problem. You need strong fundamentals to use Rainesmau, and you or others assumed that everyone had these fundamentals.
Sure did.
That everyone knows how to do an optimal launch, that everyone knows how to do perfect buff and debuff upkeep, and everyone knows how to time things well. Like, that's a lot of assumptions. It really, really fucking is.
Yep. And I had those assumptions checked, and now they were adjusted. I'm greening Bart's because Bart says wind damage and wind is green. Impeccable logic. Damn. Ace Saga coming. Yeah, true that. I haven't even been looking at the views or the likes. 64 likes, 150. Fuck it, whatever. Like the video, guys. We're gonna go ahead and wrap up. If you want to see Mino have an actual nuanced take on Ace and etc., I'm sure him and Mark will be having a fun time. I'm going to be trolling Mino in his chat tomorrow, because that's what I do on the TCC podcast days.
It's deserved. I was gonna troll this whole fucking episode, but it got depressing real fast. Again, like, I didn't realize, because if I did my Ace parody, it would be downplaying Ink's frustrations. Ink, if you listen to this later, I'm your friend. I respect your opinion. I thought it was all in good fun. Seeing how actually worked up you were about Rainesmau, I could not do a parody of it, so I respectfully backed off.
Someone said, I already greened Ace, is that not a good investment? No, it is a good investment, because you're getting a lot of power out of his BT auras, and you're getting another application of the of his debuffs and stuff with his face. So yeah, green Ace is good, but Mino is coming at it from the perspective of if you need something simple and your grasp on the game mechanics isn't too great, then Bart's and Ishtola are better.
I'm the champion of the people. I really believe.
In fact,
go ahead.
In fact, from that perspective, I even say green Zidane over Ace.
Yeah, I'm a champion of the people. I truly believe, unironically, that Rainesmau is not a cure-all.
No, it's not.
I feel like if your buddy just started like a few months ago and you say, hey, if you use Rainesmau, guess what? There are a couple of Hell Month fights coming up that have windows that resist launch, and you can skip orbs and not bring an orb checker if you play Rainesmau right. That's
so
not
funny
gonna work
thing is, he actually figured that out on his own.
Yeah, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work.
This friend is not a good example because he's really good at video games. So he picks up on stuff fast. Yeah, so he's not the greatest example.
And it's basically like Rainesmau is not. People are expecting another Tidus Core. Tidus Core skipped a lot of content.
That is brain dead.
Sure.
That is actually brain dead.
But like Rainesmau, if you are not already have a healthy grasp of the game's mechanics, you're not skipping orbs in Hell Month. You're not gonna fucking do it.
And if you to push back on that a little, you're watching other people do it and following their steps.
Yeah.
So you're not doing it yourself, but you can replicate. So I don't think that's as strong of a point.
Yeah, it's just everyone's thinking it's gonna be the panacea of Loof Plus because everyone's afraid of the Hell Month coming. And they're saying, "Oh, well, I don't remember." Like, there are a lot of comments out there, especially also of someone you just called out earlier that said that if they have Rainesmau, they don't have to pull anymore for the rest of the era.
It's not quite true if you can't execute it.
If you can't fucking airlines through all of Loof, you are not gonna Rainesmau through Loof.
You'll see that I structured my polls based on what I've identified as what I think. So I don't plan necessarily on one team to get me through everything. I like picking up key characters that enable Path of Least Resistances. So that's Ace is one of those. Ace and Beatrix being big ones for the Vayne fight, because while you can Vayne that in Cloud of Darkness and rebakes and mess around with delays and stuff, letting them get turns and letting them blow themselves up is actually a lot simpler. So Ace and Beatrix are gonna eat there, and I'm just gonna laugh as I coast through the fight. But some people might be trying to Rainesmau it and might be accidentally delaying them or not. In fact, Rainesmau in that fight, if people are turn swapping like crazy and getting blown up because they don't give them enough turns.
Yep.
Yeah. So
and then like I told
BC, Beatrix Havers, you're laughing next month, bro. And Agrius Havers for a Kate and a Shulk's fight. Like filling key units to make a cake versus one team to coast through it all. I think having a lot of characters that can make certain fights easy and mix and matching is a lot simpler than one team to do it all.
Yeah. Two things I want to hit before we go to. Well, first is whatever. Just cut the first half hour. It was very depressing.
I don't. Jesus.
So like the like as we were saying, shit. Now I lost my fucking train of thought. What did I?
We were talking about Vayne's fight and letting them get turns versus not letting them get turns. I did predict that as going to be a common frustration.
Oh, right. I was telling BC, burst damage is a very hard concept.
Burst damage and damage over time. They're both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. And we're not, and it's confusing in this game because there's a burst mode, but burst damage is just, you do your shit in windows. So like with Rainesmau as an example, you don't do the Rainesmau combo non-stop until you run out of juice. You pick a good time to Rainesmau. Just like you pick a good time to apply 5 stacks of Kurisame's debuff and then go crazy. It's not supposed to last the entire fight. You know, that's why the no-turners can't adapt. And the thing is, because burst damage is such a pain, it's like picking and choosing. That's why people complain about the Vayne cycle with Vayne, right? They're like, why can't I no turn with Vayne?
Yeah,
they warp after 12 turns.
Step on the brakes,
they warp
slow down.
And it's like, hey,
let them take the turns and do it again.
Yeah, how about if you do your damage in 12 turn bursts, and then let them take a turn, and then you do another 12 turn burst? This is too much for most people.
Yeah.
Go to QE and Jet Stingren's channel. Yeah, go to their fucking channels. They don't understand that. When in their complaint videos, they don't understand. I remember QE went on this huge rant about why am I supposed to let the enemy take turns?
Boss is getting turns for free. That's what he said.
nobody's understanding you do your damage in bursts. You don't just wail on people. Y'all never been in a fight. Sometimes they swing back. You gotta play offense and defense. But yeah, so that's one thing that I know that Vayne Cycle is gonna fuck people up. But the other thing is something you lightly touched about when you talked about that, because I'm thinking of a particular kid who struggled on T5 quite a bit, and it's round out your fucking roster, please. Don't Rainesmau and skip everything. Round out your roster.
That never ends well.
Sucker punches.
That never ends well. Something always pops up that's not on your radar, and then you're broke, and you don't know how to deal with it. That's the worst case scenario. What's it called? John Belmont said something really good. People want that easy answer team way too much, and now people are flaming since the easy answer has a learning curve.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It is an answer, but it's not free. And are people willing to do it? I don't know. You know, the MMO player getting annoyed at basic raid concepts not being followed. I hate the X amount of turns thing because I hate counting the turns. Yeah, that's a reasonable complaint, I think. I think my big thing at the time was that while the 12-turn thing was doable, it would have been a lot better if there was a big giant thing that said, okay, you have X amount of turns left, or else you're getting blown up. I think that would have gone a long way.
Yeah, that's something he argues for a lot that I can't really dispute. That it's tough because
better.
Right. It's tough because, like, at some point, when are you... I'm not trolling when I say this, but at what point are you hand-holding the player too much?
Yeah, like with checkpoints every turn, like that Reddit thread earlier, someone said it'd be cool if we could save. We could. It's like the... getting triggered over Metroid Dread. These fucking trash-ass game journalists saying we should be able to save wherever we want. Holy Jesus.
Because at what point is it too... Like, because on one hand, I think it's part of the puzzle.
Yes,
figuring out
I was playing the Dread final boss for 2 hours straight. That fucker has like 4 phases. And every time you lose, you have to start all the way over, and you get good at one phase, then you start figuring the second phase out, and then you finally get it. That's part of it, and it felt so rewarding getting to the end of it. But you want to just say, every time you make one mistake, you want to roll it back and do it again? Like, you get that in Fire Emblem, but you get it like 3 times. Like,
right. And so basically, I was saying, like, on one hand, it's part of the puzzle. Like, the devs want you to figure out that after 12 consecutive turns, something bad happens. That's why they don't detail it out. Like, I feel like Ink's always talking about how everything should be detailed out, but as you argued one time, that's not how games work, right? Like, again, fuck, I hate to bring FF14 up again.
These games are designed to be done like that.
It's on my brain because I'm going back into raiding soon, but it's like, they don't tell you when a mechanic is happening. You gotta figure it out. Like, and so at some point, I understand that they don't tell you these things, and I feel like they do it on purpose because when 6-man launches, they tell you more things because there are more things to keep track of, right?
Yeah.
Like when 6-man happens and there's 2 bosses doing different things at different times, then they're like, okay, let's throw the player a break and put in more timers and put in more warnings. But when it's just a single boss, that's the puzzle. That's the whole puzzle. Once you get the countdown, what are you worrying about? Now you're just fucking following instructions. You're just fucking putting numbers into a formula.
That's not even playing the game. You're just
so I'm saying, like, I don't think it's a flaw that they omit information. I think that's just the game design.
Yes,
I really do.
I agree. Alphano popping up. So y'all subscribe to Alphano. I'm not even gonna choose violence again. He's a great YouTuber. He does great runs. He does a lot of cool stuff, and he doesn't promote himself at all. So, and I know y'all be watching his videos but not subscribing, and he doesn't tell y'all to subscribe. Alphano really deserves more subs than me. I'm just the dude that talks, y'all. Like, come on, go. I know y'all see his name in chat. Go ahead and subscribe to Alphano for real. Shout
out to. Oh yeah, go ahead.
He says people complaining about a mechanic are most likely the ones that try to finish content under an hour rather than trying different things or finishing it in 2 tries.
I was gonna make that joke. We're always on the same wavelength. As BC's my son. I'm just saying.
Mino is my alternate. Mino is my. He's from the Berenstein universe, and I'm from the Berenstain universe. And in his universe, I became Asian and government worker.
But yeah, I was gonna make that exact same joke.
Jesus. I hate it.
Yeah, no, but he makes a great point. Complaining about mechanics are for people who don't want to put in the effort to learn, who do it under an hour or under 3 tries.
I mean, and Aphmau, I'd hope he plays FF14. He's done the same. When you're a type of person who's used to trial and error and getting the hang of things and then mastering and then knocking it down, I mean, it's second nature. But I guess it's not just everyone's vibe. I mean, I just gotta say get good. Sometimes you just gotta get good.
It is an NBC. We were talking about, like, we saw this in the community this week as well. At some point, you have to be honest with yourself. You either put in the time and work, or you don't do endgame content. I'm sorry. It's as simple as that. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Yeah. You can't be like, I only want to spend 20-30 minutes running Lufania. I only want to try once or twice, and I want to do every Lufania. You can't say, I don't want to use meta. I want to find my own way. I want to use my favorite characters. I only want to use characters from FF1 to FF6, and I only want to play 20 minutes an event, and I want to beat every event. You have to draw the fucking line somewhere. How do you get this old and not understand that, right? Something's got to give.
GRW says not everyone has the luxury of time to spend hours in the city, and you know what? That's fine. But they also should, like, let me example me in Genshin. I have once again failed to get to floor 12 in Genshin this month, and my friends roast me because I don't want to take the time to fucking fish to level my weapon up, and I have a bunch of incomplete missions, and I don't want to grind artifacts. But I also don't really bitch about not being able to get to floor 12 because I know everything was in my control and I didn't push as hard to get there, and obviously it would take some time, and obviously it's a grind, and if I'm not willing to put in the time for it, it's like FF14. I'm asset rate. Oh my god, I'm garbage at FF14, but I also barely play it. So I mean, it's like I don't expect it, you know?
Yeah, and basically it's just, look, either like endgame content is there to satisfy the most hardcore players. Why are you upset? You're either going to be a hardcore player that puts in the time and practice and knowledge, or you're not going to do it. Like, something about DFFO community, right? You don't fucking go to the arcade and say, like, DDR on the highest difficulty is too hard. The devs need to slow it down so more people can do it. Nobody realistically does that. Please, chat, don't fucking say you do that.
Yeah, chat's
makes you a
GRW
fucking
said,
idiot.
yeah, the line is drawn if you complain about it. Yeah, I mean, if you're out of time, I mean, yeah, whatever.
You don't be like, the NFL has players that are too much better than me. They need to lower the fucking standard for me. Like, there's some weird ass divide in the DFFO community. If you play any other game, there's a lot of people that respect the top. Like, if you play fighting games, a lot of people will be like, okay, well, I'm only at this rank. I know that I don't belong in heaven and strive, or I don't belong in like whatever the highest rank in like, I know I'm going to lose if I play at that level. Or if you're an MMO player, lots of MMO players
play
do not
like
rate.
when I played competitive Halo for a while, like there were people I knew that could just grease me. I'm like, you know what? They put in way more time than me. They know the maps. They know the spawns better. They have better aim than me, and I wouldn't. I mean, I talk about like balance, like fucking armor lock in Halo Reach. Like if you want to talk about like balance and stuff, that's one thing. If things are out of whack, but I'm not gonna say, oh, they're doing this so much better than me, or like button combos in Halo 2. Like you don't complain about those, you just learn them. You know?
Yeah, and what was it? We looked it up. The statistics are less single-digit percentage of MMO players raid. Like that's even regular raid. It's not the highest level of raiding. And MMO players don't complain. They need to make raids accessible to me. Something about fucking DFFOO. I tell you all the time, BC. It's probably because FF.
You can just level instead of skill.
Yeah. FF attracts a really casual player base. Only in DFFOO do I see this much complaint saying the hardest difficulty needs to be lowered for me. Like, only in this fucking game do I see that entitlement of, I only play 20 minutes an event, and I don't have time to study kits, or build characters, or grind some rewards. Yeah, I know. But this difficulty needs to give me save states and tune down the difficulty for me. Only in this fucking game are people like, holy shit, I need to be able to do everything. They can play Mega Man and not
says how many
play
people
the
actually tried the FF super bosses in each game, and you could just follow scripts for that too.
Yeah. right, okay. I'm pretty ranted out. I don't know. Yeah, anything else?
Nah. Okay. We're done. We're fucking 36 minutes over. Jesus. Well, that was a good tangent though. At least I think that was something that we needed to say. That's what we were trying to get at the whole time.
30 minutes. Just cut out. Yeah, just cut out the first 30 minutes. I don't cut out shit.
This what happens live is what gets sent to YouTube. So I ain't doing shit. Shout out to Endo who hit the timestamps. This is a long one, buddy. So also Indolent Lard just hit 300 subscribers. He's been making some really fucking funny videos. Like he's killing me lately. So if y'all want to subscribe to Indolent Lard, what the fuck are you doing? Subscribe to Aphmau, Indolent Lard, multiracial line in chat. Shout out to him. Subscribe to him too. Subscribe to all these idiots. Livestream. Jesus. Historia Cross 13. Liz Lissette. Bilal hasn't uploaded anything recently because he's a fucking loser. Subscribe to Ink. Watch the TCC podcast. All that good stuff. Don't just come to me because I'm fucking lazy. This has been the Ranting Hour, and we are all ranted out. So like the video on your way out, guys. Thanks for sticking around. I guess 152 viewers. That's pretty good for an hour and a half. Yeah, 67 likes. Nope, I went dyslexic there. I'm nearsighted. I learned I was nearsighted. I got an eye exam for like the first time in a decade. And apparently I can't fucking see because I look at a computer and screens all day. Isn't that depressing? Damn, I fucked up my eyes.
Right. You're fucking stereotype. Didn't they used to think that people got glasses because they had their noses buried in a book for so long? That's false science. And now you're the computer equivalent. You're apparently a fucking nerd.
My eyesight went. I mean, maybe it's just correlation, not causation, but my eyesight went really bad in the past year, just being work from home and being more like desk job, staring at screen and stuff.
Well, I assume you have really high quality monitors.
I do, but I mean, I'm still like probably not getting up enough as I should and stretching my eyes out. Yeah.
But also, computer screens can fuck up your eyes; just make them more tired.
The blue lighting. I do have blue light glasses, so that helps, but. Whatever. Okay, I'm ending the stream now. Good night, everyone. Thanks for coming through. And